Okay guys, here is our area, surface area, and volume test review. Number 1 asks us, what is the area of the shaded region? Now I realize that the shading didn't really come through very well, but it's that part. So what I'm going to do is take the area of the large shape, subtract off the area of the inner shape. That will give me the leftover part that is shaded. So I'm going to write area of outer equals, it's a rectangle, so length times width, 12 times 14. And when I go to my calculator, 12 times 14 gives me 168. Write that down. And now the area of the inner, still length times width, so 8 times 7, which is 56. And I'm going to subtract those. So 168 minus 56 gives me 112. Now, this single tick means feet. If you ever see something that is marked this way with a double tick, that means 14 inches. Okay? So 14 single tick is in feet. Just a side note in case you see that. So my answer is in feet squared because it's area, and that is going to be my final area answer for the area of the shaded region. In number 2, we are asked to find the diameter. Remember, that's 2 radii. And the area of the circle in question is 132 inches squared. Our area equation for a circle is pi radius squared. And this time I need to find the r, the radius, and I have the area. So I'm going to fill in what I've got. Radius squared. Okay. Now, pi, 3.1415, is being multiplied by the radius squared. I want to isolate this radius. I'm going to divide 132 by pi. 132 divided by 3.1415. And I get 480181. So 48.0181 equals radius squared. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides because I want just the one radius. And so when I do that, square root 420181, I get a final answer of 648. And I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places. That's my single r. But I'm looking for diameter. So I need to multiply this by 2. So 0.48 times 2 is going to give me my diameter. And that should give me 12.96. What is my unit of measure? Inches equals diameter. Now, it's not squared because this is a length, not an area. Okay? Alright, whoops, I'm making it worse. Hold on. 12.96. Okay. Number 3, what is the area of the unshaded region? Well, the unshaded region are these 4 circles. So I need to find 4 areas of the circles. Okay, so I'm just going to remind myself I need to multiply by 4. Now the area equation for a circle is pi radius squared. So I need to find a radius. Radius is from the center to the edge. That is my radius. And I am given that if I had 2 diameters next door to each other, they are going to measure 2 centimeters in total. So the diameter of a single circle is going to be 1. Now that's going to make my radius 0.5 centimeters. Right? So I'm going back over to my equation. Pi times the radius of 0.5 squared is going to give me my area. And I'm going to keep that reminder that I need to multiply it by 4. So I'm going to my calculator, 0.5 squared. Oops. 0.5 times 0.5 gives me 0.25 times pi. Still need to multiply it by 4. And I'm going to go ahead and do the multiplication now. Oh, I get a straight up 1. Okay, so my answer is 1 times pi. My unit of measure is centimeters, and those are centimeters squared. Okay? So I'm going to do an approximation, which basically means I'm going to multiply out pi. So 1 times 3.1415 is going to give me an approximate answer of 3.1415, because I multiplied by 1, centimeters squared. So you might see either one of these answers on your test. I will not give you this is choice A and this is choice B. Okay? I would only do that if I told you to do it in terms of pi or round to the nearest decimal, or I would give you some indication that there would be a more correct answer. But otherwise, I won't do that to you guys. All right, number 4, the surface area and volume of a cone. Well, I don't know what the equations for those are. They're in your note packet. The surface area of a cone equation is pi r squared. Remember, that's the base area, that circle. Now I'm going to add the curved part, and that is pi radius times slant height or lateral height. Now in this problem, just in case you couldn't tell what I was trying to label, I listed them out. So I think I have all of the pieces I need. I have R and I have L. I can just plug this into my equation. Pi times the radius of 3 squared plus pi times the radius of 3 times the lateral height of 5. And that gives me 9 times pi plus 15 times pi. And now I can add those together and get 24 pi inches squared because it's area. Now I can also do it by multiplying out pi. I go to my handy dandy calculator, and 24 times 3.1415 gives me 75.4 inches squared. In my calculator, that's 6 bumps the 9, then 9 bumps the 3. So my final answer would be 75.4. But I'm also asked for the volume. Again, I look in my note packet, and the volume equation that I prefer to use is pi radius squared times height divided by 3. And I have all of those pieces. So pi radius 3 squared. My height is 4. Divide all of that by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4, times 4 is 36. I go ahead and divide by 3 and get 12. And I get 12 pi inches cubed because it's volume. If I multiply out pi, 12 times 3.1415, not divided by Ms. Hart, 12 times 3.1415, I get 37.7, 8 bumps 9, 9 bumps 6, 37.7. Still inches cubed or volume. Now in number 5, we're to find the area of a regular triangle with a radius of 14 centimeters. Let's draw our regular triangle. All my sides are congruent, definition of regular. All of my angles are congruent, part of the definition of regular. The radius is from the center to a vertex, and that is 14 centimeters. Now I'm going to draw in my apothem because that's going to give me a right triangle, and we can do all kinds of things with a right triangle. So I'm going to pull that right triangle out, make it a little bigger. This 14. Here is my right angle. This is my apothem. Now what I'm going to do is find one of these angle measures. Okay? But in order to do that, I need to figure out what is one angle measure. That radius will cut that angle measure in half. So all triangles have to add up to 180. 180 divided by 3 is going to give me 60. And half of 60, this part of my triangle, is going to be 30 degrees. 30 plus 90 leaves me 60 degrees as that upper angle. I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So remember, across from 30 is a building block or an X. In this case, it's my apothem, and I don't have it. All right, across from my 60-degree angle is my building block times the square root of 3. Across from 60, I don't have anything. All right, across from my 90-degree angle is 2 times my building block. Across from my 90, I have 14. That is twice my building block. So my building block is 7. X equals 7. And across from 60 is going to be my building block times the square root of 3. So let's see, across from 30 is now 7 centimeters. And across from 60 is 7 square roots of 3 centimeters. Now remember that when I pulled out this right triangle, this side in blue corresponds to half a side of the entire triangle. So I need to multiply my side by 2 in order to get 14 square roots of 3 centimeters as each side of my original triangle. So my area equation is apothem times perimeter divided by 2. Do I have all my pieces? I have apothem. It is 7. I'm going to fill that in. My perimeter is 14 plus 14 square roots of 3 plus 14 square roots of 3 plus 14 square roots of 3. And that gives me 42 square roots of 3. All of that divided by 2. Okay. And so now I'm going to plug that into my calculator. I'm going to leave it in radical form. So 14 divided by 2 is 21 times 7 gives me 147 times the square root of 3. My unit of measure is centimeters, and I'm asked to find the area, so I'm squaring it. So 143 square roots of 3 centimeters squared is my final answer for the area of that triangle. Right, so what is the surface area and volume of a cylinder with a diameter of 3 and a height of 5 centimeters? Well, diameter is 2 radius, so I'm going to write down that my radius is 1.5 centimeters, half of 3. And the surface area of a cylinder, I go to my note packet and I look up the equation. And surface area is 2 pi radius squared plus 2 pi radius times height. So I've got the radius, I've got the height. I'm just going to plug what I've got in. 2 times pi times my radius, 1.5, squared, plus 2 times pi times my radius, 1.5, times my height of 5. And then I've got stuff that I can put into my calculator. All right, 1.5 squared times 2 gives me 4.5. So 4.5, I have not multiplied out pi, so pi keeps coming along, plus this other side, so 1.5 times 5 times 2 gives me 15, and pi is still tagging along, so 15 pi. So when I add this together and I get 19.5 pi, unit of measure centimeters squared for area. Now if I multiply out pi, I'm going to get 19.5 times 3.1415. I'm going to get 61.26 centimeters squared. And these are the exact and the approximate surface area of that cylinder. So now we got to go on to volume. Volume of a cylinder has the equation pi times radius squared times height. Pi, my radius is 1.5, squaring it, times the height of 5 centimeters. So 1.5 squared is 2.25. Now I'm going to multiply that by 5 and get 11.25 pi centimeters cubed, because it's volume. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply out pi and get approximately 35.34 centimeters cubed. Okay. So those are my volume, exact and approximate, for this cylinder.